This is the Bandai DX VF-25 toy. This was Bandai's first premium Macross Frontier merchandise, and as a result it may not have quite all the frills that you've come to expect in your premium VF toy lines. It does have a cockpit that opens up. Inside there's a pilot. He's not removable. A common complaint is these head guns. They have a tendency to warp. They're made out of PVC. It's a lot more prevalent on the VF-25S toy. There's plenty of pre-painted detail on the toy, but another common complaint is that it scratches off easily. The toy has integrated landing gears, but they're pretty short and stubby, although they do have wheels that spin. In fighter mode, there are these little tail fins that stick out. They're, in the show, they're actually angled and a little bit larger. It's another common complaint. On anymoon.com, I will have comparisons to the actual line art so you can get a better feel for just how closely Bandai was able to emulate it. Let's move on to gear walk. This is gear walk mode. This is also a good time to point out a couple flaws of the toy. First, the fixed posed hands for fighter mode. I've left them on here in gear walk mode, and you can see they're pretty unnatural and awkward. The first thing you would do in transforming this toy from one mode to the next would be to swap these hands out for some of the optional hands that come with the toy. The second flaw I'll point out is that in fighter mode you need to include a optional attachment piece to get the gun to sit underneath the toy. So then when you transform the toy, you would have to pop this little piece off, and then this would be your gun. That would go into one of the fixed posed hands you have, and then you would replace the knife hand. Another problem with these fists, these fixed posed fists, is that they didn't glue the back armor onto the hand itself, so they pop off a lot. Later versions of the DX toys, they actually fixed that and did put a little bead of glue in there. Now, a third flaw in gear walk mode, you can't attach the vents or the intakes to the upper body of the vehicle. So here's the top, here's the bottom, and that's how you get your angled aggressive poses. It still works out alright. It's kind of like Yamato's YF-19, how the chest in Batroid mode doesn't lock down. Gravity kind of does all the work for you, so it's not as annoying as it may seem. Although once you notice it once, your eyes may always gravitate towards that. Otherwise, the toy kind of handles itself fine in gear walk mode. And I'm not showing you the transformation, but it's actually really fluid from one mode to the next, so that's a definite plus for this toy. Let's move on to Batroid. This is Batroid mode. As you can see, there's a lot of die-cast metal in the ankles. That metal actually continues all the way through the bottom of the feet. The knees range of motion is pretty limited. Can't go all that far. You do have the full gear walk mode up top, which you're going to want to use more than moving the hips back, because you'll run into the paint right behind the hips and possibly scratch it. There is a waist joint, which is kind of neat. You don't see that on a lot of VF toys. Shoulders have a good range of motion. You have this spinning area right here. Plus, you can do pretty much whatever you want with that inner shoulder mechanism too. Head's on a ball joint. The fixed pose hands are on ball joints too, so you can kind of move them around in any way you like. The knife does not store in the shield. That's kind of a weakness there. Overall, Batroid mode can be a lot of fun. The ankles look a little large, kind of like it's wearing floods. Overall, the toy is solid. You feel the metal content. It feels like a quality toy, but it definitely has some weaknesses. Visit anymoon.com for comparisons to other similar toys, and pictures of the line art and comparisons to the line art, and for a full review.